The Halo kids are fully provided for in their education through primary school, onto high school, onto vocational training or college. They're provided education throughout their life, and then we also provide them with shelter and water and food every day, and medical care and a loving family. We also, one unique part is that we do art with the kids, which is an opportunity that they don't get in school. It's not part of their curriculum, and it helps them in various ways. I have some examples here we can look at. So this was a project that 5 boys from our Bukesa home did together, which really helps with trusting each other and like just kind of teamwork, and they have to work together to create something, but it's also abstract, and they're not used to this. They made this by putting paint on the paper and then blowing it with straws to make the patterns, which is something that kind of blew their mind that they weren't really used to. And so that helps them with their creativity and thinking. And then a lot of the times I have them work together. So this Mark and Henry did, and Mark and Henry are both boys who were living on the street, and Mark was the primary artist on this piece. But he lost both of his parents when he was a young kid and was being raised by an aunt. So he grew up in a rural area in Uganda, and then a lot of boys think the solution from their hard lives where they're not going to school is to run away to Kampala, where they think they'll have economic opportunities, but the reality is there are none, and so they end up living on the streets. So he lived on the streets for a few years, and then was just kind of fighting for himself. A lot of the boys will sell scraps of metal and plastic to get by, and they sleep on the streets under awnings of restaurants and things like that. So that's what he had to do for a few years, and then he came across Halo and joined the Halo homes in 2009. And he's thrived since he's been there. He's a very intelligent kid, and he loves art, and he's always taken fine art classes. It's his favorite class. And he's a great model for the other boys. He's becoming a mentor in himself, and he's very responsible and does really well in school and continues with his art and his passion about it. So he's really come a long way in his life, from losing his parents to living on the streets to being a successful adult. And he's still in school, and he'll probably continue on into university or college in a few years. So this is a piece, it's called a dyad drawing, which just means that 2 people work together to create it. So Michael and Morris from the Makere home made this together. So here we have just a hut, which is what their traditional houses look like in the village, not the house that they live in, but a traditional house. And this is a cow, which pretty important. They herd cattle and things like that. This is a picture of Uganda, and this is like kind of a map of East Africa. So this piece I think is really interesting and unique because of all the lines that cross over each other. So their instructions were just to work together in whatever way they wanted to and whatever way they felt comfortable. So they could have drawn a picture here and a picture here, but these 2 boys are friends, and they clearly felt comfortable really melding into one piece. So it really came together, and these lines, crossing over into it meant that they were able to really collaborate and work as a team, which is really cool. So this is a waterfall that 5 of the girls from Mango Home did. And in Uganda, they have a huge waterfall that's powered by the Nile, so it's very powerful. It's huge, and a lot of the kids do get to go there on school trips. So they just depicted that waterfall. It's called Murchison Falls, and some nature around it. This is a pretty typical scene that you would see all the time in Uganda. A woman walking here, she's holding what they call a jerry can, which is what they use to carry water in. So in the village, you would not be able to get water directly at your house most of the time. You would have to walk to a public spigot and get water. So this is something you see all the time, women walking from their house, down a dirt path to go. So this is just something they see a lot. That's easy for them to draw, and comes out really beautifully. This piece is really cool, and the girls worked really hard on it. The girls from Mango Home, this is their school, and this is pretty much what it looks like. They have these 2 buildings, and here they wrote like 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. They put all of their classrooms in, and they've got the main hall, and then they would eat lunch outside. And so they love going to school, so they really wanted to draw their school, and they all go to school together. So this is Mango Primary School. So this is basically a traditional home setting. We have the house, that's what it would look like. And then they have the women outside who are making dinner. This would be where they're like mingling together to make their traditional foods. And then they have like clothes here, drying out because they wash their clothes by hand and then they put them outside to dry. So they really got all of their details in here, and you know, they have the farmland and birds, and there's some corn, and they really put a lot of detail into this picture, and this is everything that they see in their lives. This again is a picture of a landscape that's very familiar to them. This would be a more modern home. This would be kind of like the home that they live in now. And then they have, you know, the trees and all the people, and fruits are very common. And so this is, again, a village setting that the kids are really used to and like to draw. So this is made on a burlap sack that's used to transport flour. And this is a scene that they see a lot, carrying, you know, women and men carrying things on their head. And so this project, they were supposed to just draw a simple object that they see all the time, so they can kind of put their life into, into what they see every day, and make it more simple, because sometimes they get overwhelmed with more abstract projects. This is really cool. This was done by Arafat. They're just cow horns, which they see all the time, but just part of life that is beautifully depicted in its simplicity. This is just a pot. They use pots for, you know, carrying water and drinking and mixing food, and so that's just something they use all the time, and they're able to show that its beauty and its just everydayness. So this is kind of like a little landscape. The Nile begins in Uganda and runs through it, and it's a source for, you know, electricity and power and everything. So this would be a picture of the Nile River that runs and begins in Uganda. This is actually one of my favorites because it was done by a boy named Willie, and he doesn't think he has any artistic ability, and I really have to encourage him to do art. So this is a jerry can, which is used to carry water, and they use it for bathing. They use it for everything. It's just always there, and it's easy. It was an easy thing for him to draw, and I just think it is beautiful in its simplicity, and the fact that it's such a part of their life. So he did this jerry can. And this is corn, or they call it maize. I believe Arafat did this from Bukessa. And again, this is just something they eat a lot, that they grow a lot. It's part of their life, and, you know, nicely depict it in its simplicity.